Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to another video. Before we get into your questions, it was actually my birthday a couple days ago, and even in pre-beer bug times, I don't really celebrate my birthday all that much. I thought I could at least do something small. So, for the next week after this video goes up, all merch is discounted up to 25%. Link in the description, it helps out the channel, and they're actually really comfy. So yeah, thanks for sticking around. That's there for you if you're interested. Alright, hit that like button, it really helps out, and now let's jump into the video. You say, I don't like this guitar, but your face during the demo kind of says you do. Yeah, this was in reference to the Sterling Majesty demo that went up earlier. Yes, I finally did it. Sorry for making you guys wait a while on that one. Spoiler, I wasn't a massive fan of that particular guitar, but I mean, I love playing distorted riffs through a dual rectifier. You could give me a brick with an EMG, and it'd still be fun. I was also trying this new thing that Andrew Baina recommended. So dual track guitars, on one side I'm playing 4th fret on the B string and 7th fret on the G string, and then B string 5th fret and G string 8th fret on the other side. So that's 4 high dissonant notes together, and it sounds stupid, disgusting, and heavy. He says you can also do that with chugs as well, to make them extra thick. I haven't tried that yet. But yeah, the 4 high dissonant notes together. Try that the next time you're writing something. It's a neat little trick. The entire thing was actually written around that concept, basically. And the demo track turned into a really cool one, or at least I like it. So yeah, whether it's the Majesty or a Les Paul, as long as it's a cool guitar and cool riffs, I'm not gonna mope around while playing because it's not a Les Paul or whatever. Basically, my point is, guitar is just fun. Can we appreciate the new keyboard upgrade and the mouse? Great choices, my dude. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. Using an old $10 mouse was not a pro gamer move at all. And I guess, less importantly, it was bad for editing and stuff. So I've upped my RGB game, very important. For anyone that's interested in this kind of stuff, I'm now using a Razer Black Widow Elite keyboard with the green mechanical switches. So they're like super clicky and just a ton of fun to type with. No joke, I have an absolute blast doing emails now. I sound so f***ing lame. And then for my mouse, it's a Logitech G Wireless Pro. Both are pretty overkill, but I spend so much time on my computer writing and editing that it was worth getting something a little nice. And again, plus RGB. So yeah, if you're looking for a new keyboard and mouse, that's what I'm using now. Massive upgrade from the $10 mouse and Bluetooth travel keyboard I was using for 5 years. I like them. I'll leave Amazon links in the description. I'm not allowed to say it helps out the channel if you click them and then buy something off of Amazon, so I won't, but they're there if you're curious. Hey Hunter, so one thing that I noticed no one who reviews guitars goes into, and is very important to me when buying a guitar online that I can't try out first, is neck dive. I'd like to see a small clip of the guitar being played standing up with the strap on, with all the ones done sitting down. Yeah, so like in this small space, you can't see it right now, but it's not a big space. It's really kind of hard to film with the current gear that I have standing up, and I never really understood why anyone cared that much about neck dive until Pete Cottrell explained it to me. He's like, yeah, when you're ripping into a shreddy solo, you don't want the guitar moving around, you want it to be perfectly balanced to let you do your widdly thing. And I was like, oh, that makes perfect sense. Like, speaking as a rhythm player, whether a guitar has neck dive or not, it doesn't really affect my palm mutes or whatever. It can have massive amounts of neck dive, no neck dive, reverse neck dive, neck lift, doesn't matter. If it's a single cut, I'll play it. But no, I hear you. I understand why it's important now. And I hope that helps explain it to anyone else that didn't really understand the obsession with neck dive either. So, not the next 2 ones because they're already filmed, but I bought a strap. Demos going forward will take neck dive into consideration. Hey Hunter, what do you think of the new Vintera Road Worn series? Oh, this is gonna be a controversial one. I'll get my position out of the way first. I love Relic'd guitars. A natural Relic is obviously cooler, there's history, each ding, each chip, each crack has a story to tell. Not that kind of crack, although depending, maybe? But factory Relics are also a vibe. So that's one side, but there's also an intense dislike on the internet for Relic'd guitars because, I don't know, to be honest, it doesn't really seem like anyone loses or anyone's getting hurt by having Relic'd options, but some people take personal offense. Moving on, we've talked about the Vintera series before. It's Fender's vintage-inspired, vintage-spec line out of their Mexico facility. It's got a lot of uncommon models spanning Fender's past at affordable prices. It's a really cool line. And as we found out with the 50s Telecaster, they chug. Now they're expanding the line to include road-worn Vinteras. And if you don't take away anything else, what's really cool on these is that out of the Mexico facility, they've got nitro lacquer finishes, not the super plasticky poly. For an import guitar from a major brand, that's huge. Right now there are 4 new models, 2 Strats and 2 Tellys, though I guess at some point post Beerbug they'll add Jaguars and the Jazzmasters as well. So we've got the Road 150s and 60s Stratocasters. The 50s comes in Fiesta Red and Surf Green with a maple fingerboard. The 60s comes in Lake Placid Blue and Fire Mist Gold with a Palfaro fingerboard. Alder bodies, maple necks, super round 7¼ fingerboard radii, 21 vintage style frets. The 50s has a soft V neck profile, whereas the 60s has a C-shaped neck. That 50s in Surf Green, especially with the aged plastic pickup covers. Like, I'm not a massive Strat person, but yes. For me though, the Telecasters, that's where it's at. We've got the Road 150s and 70s Deluxe Tellys. The 50s comes in Lake Placid Blue and Vintage Blonde. Let's be real, this wouldn't be a complete Fender lineup without some sort of butterscotchy Telly. The 70s Deluxe comes in Olympic White and Daphne Blue. The 50s is essentially the same model that I already demoed on the channel. Was really impressed with the quality, and it didn't feel like anything else I'd ever played. Like, I haven't had a tremendous amount of exposure to vintage Fenders, so when I picked that up with its massive baseball bat of a neck, that 50s U-shape and 7¼ radius fingerboard, and the 3 brass saddled ashtray bridge, it felt very primitive, but in a good way. It was almost like a raw guitar playing experience. 6 strings on big chunks of wood. Essentially, awesome. The 70s Deluxe is a completely different animal to the rest of the Roadwood series though. Medium C profile, 21 medium jumbo frets as opposed to the vintage style, 9½ fingerboard radius, the Fender standard of the modern era. I'm not sure I dig the massive oil slick pickguard, but the 4 control knobs and the pickup selector and the Les Paul positions, Daphne Blue with that massive 70s headstock, I love it already. Overall, I think the Road Warrens have an immense amount of potential. The Relic isn't overly done. It's not like the 10S GF Relic that looked like it had gotten into an altercation with a vat of acid. Here it seems tastefully restrained and in all the right places. After all, Fender has been around for a long time, so there are a lot of examples of naturally aged Strats and Tellys to take reference from. This is actually really exciting to me because I love the Relic look, and I also like import guitar prices. Most Relic options traditionally have only been from like the custom shops. Obviously, Relic work takes a little extra time, and on these Vinteras, there's a $200 upcharge from the non-Relics versions, but still, $10.99 for the Road Warren 70s Deluxe Telly. I still think that's pretty decent, or at any rate, way better than a custom shop price tag. My one concern was that since they were doing factory-made Road Warren guitars, all the Relicing might be identical, and they might look too much like they were coming off a mass production factory line. Just from the stock images though, it looks like the Relicing on the fingerboard is all a little different from model to model. So that's good. Each unit will hopefully have its own personality, something I feel like a lot of solid colored import guitars lack without some sort of naturally figured veneer. Unique Relicing gives each of these a little bit of individuality despite being mass produced. So I really like that. But that's enough of my thoughts. What about you? What do you think of the Road Warren Vinteras, and do you want to see a demo? Personally, I'm absolutely leaning towards a Daphne Blue 70s Deluxe Telly, but let me know what you think and I'll reach out to Fender. And don't worry, I will ask about the new Jim Root Jazzmaster. I still see your requests, and I really want to try that one too. Before we get into the next question, I want to give a massive shout out to FireDoc14 and the rest of the amazing supporters over on Patreon for making what I do possible. You guys are truly awesome. If you want to directly support what I do as well and get bonus perks like MP3s and tabs to all the demo tracks, link is in the cards. Yeah, you guys are the best. Into the next question. When will you do a review of the new Jared Dines guitar? I don't know. For some reason, Sterling's been kind of quiet since the Majesty review went up. We'll see. That's one you guys have really been asking for. I've mentioned before, that's one I really want to take a look at as well. I'm really curious to see what Sterling is capable of at a $699 price point. My gut feeling is that it's going to be a great bang for buck guitar, and I'm all about bang for buck. That sounded weird. We move. Now, what am I listening to this week? All right, how come none of you told me about Crystal Lake? I am so disappointed in you guys because holy crap, the riffage is insane. It is so brutal. They're a metalcore band out of Tokyo, Japan. Wasn't expecting that. I've been jamming out to their re-recording of The Voyages. I think my favorite track so far is Free Will. I'll leave a link down below. If you enjoy breakdowns, you'll like this. And now, of course, it is time to hear from yet another adoring fan. It's the high praise of the week. Nice guitar, boring and uninspired playing as always though. Hey man, coming up with something new every week is pretty hard. Not all of us can be the Brad Lively. Let's take a look at what you've got for inspiration. This channel doesn't have any content. How unpredicted an outcome. And that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did and you're new around here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Also hit the bell for all notifications. That way YouTube lets you know when I upload a new video. Social media, merch, don't forget there's a discount sale going on right now. Links are in the description as always. Thanks so much for watching. You've been awesome and I'll see you for the next video.